Beginning. An unexpected summons. I never expected to meet royalty. I'm Jonas Cade, a human engineer specializing in interstellar communications, and my life has always been about circuits, transmitters, and signal clarity. I wasn't a diplomat, I wasn't a soldier, and I certainly wasn't someone who walked the glittering halls of the Aurelian Palace. And yet, here I was. The message arrived without explanation. Report to the Queen's private chambers. Immediate. No protocol, no introduction. Just my name in elegant golden letters. I arrived at the palace in my standard-issue human attire, feeling painfully out of place amid the throngs of silk-clad courtiers, hover servants, and ceremonial guards. The palace itself was a masterpiece of Aurelian architecture, floating terraces, walls of iridescent crystal, and light that refracted through energy shields to cast prismatic patterns on the floors. A soft chime announced my arrival, and the door to the private chambers opened silently. Inside, the room was warm, lined with tall bookshelves and a massive window overlooking the city. But it wasn't the room that stunned me. It was her, Queen Selene Arvalis. She was seated on a low, curved throne, her silver hair cascading over one shoulder, her eyes glowing faintly with a violet luminescence unique to Aurelian royalty. She wore a robe that shimmered like liquid starlight, and her presence filled the room in a way that made the air feel heavier, like gravity had a new center. "Jonas Cade," she said, her voice soft but commanding. "Come closer." My legs felt like lead, but I obeyed. Every step seemed slower than the last. When I finally reached her, she studied me intently, her gaze piercing as if she could see through every thought, every memory, every secret fear. Then she did something I didn't expect. She lifted her hand, placed it lightly on my shoulder, and whispered, "You remind me of someone." I froze. My chest tightened. I could barely breathe. I had no idea what to say. The words carried weight, resonance, and something deeper, a memory not my own but familiar all the same. "Who?" I managed. She tilted her head slightly, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Someone I lost long ago. Someone I thought I would never see again." And yet, she paused, her fingers still resting lightly on my shoulder. "Here you are." My heart pounded. That touch, that simple gesture, was more than a greeting. It was a recognition, a connection, a bond that transcended time, species, and reason. "Your Majesty, I..." She shook her head, still smiling faintly. "Not yet, Jonas. Sit. We have much to discuss." And in that moment, I realized I had been summoned not for technical reasons, not for diplomacy, but for something far more profound. The secrets of the Queen. The conversation that followed changed everything I thought I knew about the galaxy and about myself. Queen Selene revealed that the Aurelian Empire had been hiding a secret for generations, an experimental program in human-Aurelian relations designed to merge human ingenuity with Aurelian psychic abilities. Most humans involved had vanished from the historical record, their existence erased to prevent political scandal. "You are not like other humans," she explained. "Your mind, your intuition, your reactions. They remind me of someone who shaped the early days of our program, a human who saved my life decades ago." I stared at her, trying to process what she was saying. "You're saying I'm related to this experiment?" She shook her head. "No. Not related. Chosen. Selected. Your actions, your essence, echo someone from my past. Someone who mattered to me more than I can say." Her eyes glistened as she looked out the window, and for the first time, I saw vulnerability beneath the perfection of a queen. She was mourning someone she had lost long ago, someone whose absence still haunted her, and somehow, I reminded her of them. Then she leaned forward, lowering her voice, so only I could hear. There are forces in the galaxy that wish to destabilize Aurelium, to erase all hope. They will come for us, Jonas. And I need you to help me. I felt the weight of her words settle on me like a gravity well. Protect a queen. Safeguard an empire. Face enemies who had likely defeated entire fleets. My life had been simple: calibrate satellites, fix transmissions, ensure signals ran smoothly. Now I was being asked to step into a galaxy-wide conspiracy and to protect someone who could see my very soul. Before I could answer, she touched my shoulder again, lighter this time, almost a caress. I trust you. That is more than I have trusted anyone in decades. Her words, her touch, her trust, it sent shivers down my spine. I nodded, swallowing hard. I won't let you down. A faint smile curved her lips. I know you won't. The next few days were a whirlwind. I was introduced to Aurelium technology unlike anything humanity had developed. Psychic amplifiers, starship shields powered by thought, drones that responded to subtle neural commands. And I had to learn it all quickly. We planned, strategized, and prepared for threats that lurked beyond the Empire's borders. Yet through it all, her presence haunted me. She would often come into the lab or the command room, placing a hand on my shoulder, whispering encouragement, or sometimes cryptic memories of someone I wasn't sure I had known. Each touch left me breathless, my mind racing, heart pounding, yet strangely centered. And then came the attack. The invasion. The enemy struck at night, when the Aurelium fleet was least prepared. Ships warped into the system, cloaked and deadly, firing upon stations and orbital defenses simultaneously. Queen Selene, standing on the command deck, issued orders that seemed impossible to execute. Ships moved, shields rose, and weapons targeted intruders, all in a synchronized ballet of strategy and psychic precision. I worked alongside her, translating human commands into Aurelium systems, guiding ships through sectors they had never navigated before. And at a critical moment, when a massive raider vessel targeted the Queen's flagship directly, she turned to me, placing her hand once more on my shoulder. "You know what to do," she whispered. I didn't hesitate. Following instinct, training, and the echoes of some unspoken memory, I rerouted power, calculated angles, and launched a countermeasure that disabled the raider fleet's main engines. The flagship rocked, enemy ships were immobilized, and for a moment, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. She looked at me, eyes wide, lips parted. You remind me of him," she whispered. And I realized the meaning now. The human from her past had been a hero, a protector, and somehow, in me, she had found a reflection of that courage. The battle raged for hours, but with combined human ingenuity and Aurelium psychic command, we pushed back the invaders. The Queen's fleet survived, and the Empire remained intact. When the last enemy ship was destroyed, she came to me again, this time embracing me briefly, her forehead resting against mine. "I didn't think I could trust anyone again," she admitted, voice trembling. "And yet here you are, breathing, fighting, reminding me that hope never dies." I could barely respond, caught between exhaustion, relief, and something deeper I had never anticipated. Ending, recognition, and a new beginning. After the battle, the Aurelium court celebrated the Queen's survival and the repelling of the invaders. But private moments were reserved for those who mattered most. She summoned me to her chambers again. The room was quiet now, peaceful. She stood, approached me, and touched my shoulder lightly, the same gesture that had defined our first encounter. "You remind me of someone," she said, her voice soft, carrying centuries of memory, grief, and admiration. I couldn't speak. She smiled gently, looking into my eyes. Not just anyone could have saved the Empire. Not just anyone could have reminded me of what I thought was lost forever. But you carried it. You carried him. Her words struck me to the core. She wasn't just acknowledging my actions. She was acknowledging the bond, the reflection of someone she had loved, someone who had shaped her life long ago. I didn't know I could be that, I whispered. You were always that, she said. And now you are more than that. You are my ally, my protector, my reminder that the galaxy still has heroes. She stepped closer, resting her forehead against mine this time. I trust you, Jonas. Completely. And that is worth more than all the stars combined. I swallowed, trying to breathe, trying to comprehend the enormity of the moment. She touched my shoulder, whispered memories and trust into me, and suddenly, I realized that life would never be the same. The Alienempire had survived, the invaders had been repelled, and I had become more than a human engineer. I had become a witness, a participant, and a reflection of someone long gone but never forgotten. And in that quiet chamber, with the galaxies stretching endlessly outside the window, I understood that sometimes a touch, a whisper, a simple recognition could change a life forever. Because when the Queen touches your shoulder and whispers, "You remind me of someone," you realize that even across species, across time, across lost, connections endure. And you learn to breathe again, knowing you are part of something far greater than yourself.